Let's Talk is to ensure that we equip ourselves mentally and emotionally to be able to go out there and conquer and make a good life, a living for ourselves. And I hope that your day is going well. On that note, I welcome you to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakuru Batabo. My pleasure. Always my pleasure. I never would run out. I never would stop. Okay, I shouldn't say never. But I wouldn't like to stop using this line. It is my pleasure having you on the other side of the radio, because indeed it is my pleasure having you on the other side of the radio as you and I, talk for development, talk for growth, and talk for a better River State and Nigeria at large. We would have this show run up until 7 p.m. The 4 o'clock hour, there will be a topical issue. We will talk about the move to ban, or the thoughts to ban state electoral commissions. And the 5 o'clock hour, you and I will talk about the police statement about late Chukudi, who is brandished as a kidnapper by the police. We'll talk about that. I think the family of Chukudi will be yet again in the studio. This time the wife, I want to believe. And alongside her would be the chairman of RIFSCO, the River State Civil Society Organization. The 6 o'clock hour will be time for open season. We'll look at some of the stories we could not talk about on the show and look at possible front page stories for tomorrow. Basically a recap as well. That's how the show will go. But for this hour, you and I will look at the big stories, right? And what are we doing for the big stories? We are looking at three mighty stories. I should have started with the national anthem. I should have started with the national anthem, but somehow Constance beat me to the music for the hour. So we would just go with what Constance played. Maybe some of the time I played it because the Senate has joined the House of Representatives to pass the reverting to the old national anthem. They've passed that bill. I think it's second reading or third reading. I can't remember. But just like the House of Reps, they have passed that bill. So we're most likely going to go back to Nigeria with healthy if the president signs it into law. But let's look at our big stories for today. Enough of the Diddy darling. Governor Fubara says he's aware there are plans to destabilize River State. So yesterday there was a banquet, in the euphoria of 1 year anniversary. That's what the banquet was for. The governor mentioned that he knows that there are plans to destabilize the state. He said it while thanking the service chiefs or the people in charge of the various security units in River State, and said he knows that there are people attempting to destabilize River State. Let's take a listen to what the governor had to say.
Especially the police, other ones that are here, you have shown us so much support. That a lot of people are planning one thing or the other, but because you are gentlemen and women of honor, never accepted to join in destroying what we have. For our royal fathers, you have a lot to do. You are the closest people to our people. Everybody who lives in every community, you know them. Sure that you take control of all your domain. Be very useful to our security agency. We know they might be planning some things.
You heard him there. They are planning some things. He knows that they are planning some things. Maybe a strategy remains the same, like we talked about yesterday, to raise the bar so high, to raise the standard so high that the detractors cannot destabilize the state. Maybe that is his strategy, but he's saying, and when I look at it, he's the chief security officer of the state, the number one security officer. of the state. So it probably has information that you and I do not have. I'm wondering, and I'm wondering from a genuine place, because the other side of the divide in the political warfare in Rivers State have been quiet for some time now. I wonder why the quietness. I mean, I like the fact that there is peace. I hope the peace is a lasting one. I hope the peace is not what he's referencing to, that they are planning something and that's why everywhere is quiet. But I mean, it's something that I worry about. I wonder if you worry about it as well. In that speech, the governor appealed to the judiciary and the legislature to support the executive to move the state forward. The ceremony was attended by former Governor Peter Adeli, former Deputy Governor Tele Kuru, some former national leaders of the PDP, Chief Judge Simon Amadi, royal fathers, and many other dignitaries, including the Amayanabo of Okochiri, Ateke Tam, and Niger Delta activist Asari Dokubo. Our correspondent Oyekachi Wonsu reports that the governor unveiled a book on the history of Rivers State written by some intellectuals from Rivers and Bayelsa states. All right, so I'd like to get your thoughts on that very one. Let's get to hear what you think as it relates to, this very issue. Now, moving on to my next big story. FG proposes 60,000 naira as new minimum wage. Now, according to the story trending, Labour did another walkout on the tripartite committee as they once again reconvened to negotiate the minimum wage. Remember, Labour is giving the federal government up until the 31st of May. That is what? Today is the 28th day of May. That means in about 3 days' time, Labour will be gearing up for some kind of protest of basically they will just down tools, be in their houses and not go to work, which in my opinion, every time Labour tries to do this, I always would say they are further worsening the economic situation in the country. But Labour is saying it is long overdue. The last minimum wage, or the current minimum wage, expired April 18, and so it's time for a new one, and it is taking 5 years, because that's what the law stipulates, I believe. 5 years for the renegotiation of minimum wage. And they're saying they're not just going to allow the federal government just reel out figures. It has to be something that can be backed with figures, facts, with proper planning, proper thinking. And when the federal government decided to add just 3,000 naira to their former proposal, which was somewhere around the region of 57,000 naira for minimum wage, Labour decided to remove 3,000 naira from their own demand. And it's really crazy what is going on. But you see, the conversation is still rife, very much rife, and people are still asking, how do we get to the point where there is an agreement? How do we get to the point where Labour, the federal government, the state governors, the private sector agreeing on what the minimum wage should be? Remember, on the government side, they are thinking, we're embarking on so many projects, we're doing so many things that require funds that are capital intensive, we're doing all of that stuff, and we just would not want to make promises that we will not be able to sustain, or we will not be able to fulfill, right? And there is the state governments, I should put it, because there are about 36 of them, who may also be looking at sustainability, because if you say, let's pay somewhere around the region of 400 and how much is it again? 450,000 right now. That's what it is now, right? Yeah. So if you're talking 450,000 naira now, come on, how many state governments can actually afford it, especially in the northern part of the country, where their internally generated revenue are low, right? We're looking at it from that angle as well. We're looking at it from the private sector. How many businesses would have the capacity to pay 450,000 naira as minimum wage. A lot of businesses would have to close or not even employ anybody at all. So these are some of the issues, right? However, Labour is saying, I get your argument, but can you give me a scientific backing as to why you're offering what you're offering? And if it does make sense, then we will take it. You just don't come up with figures. Now you're saying 60,000 naira. Oh my, Labour is not having it. We might have an economic situation very soon, in a couple of days time, 3 days time to be precise, and I'm scared. I'm scared because right now the prices of things are off the roof, so high, they have skyrocketed. Down into it, we're worsening things because it means production will be slow. I mean, our production is poor already, very paltry, and then we go on strike, or we protest, or we down tools, whichever one they want to do, and then guess what? We slow the wheels that are already slow. We slow it even further. We worsen the things, and it might just mean that things may become more expensive and too expensive for the common man to afford. But according to the Vanguard, a source privy to the meeting which is taking place in Abuja told Vanguard that the federal government increased its offer by 3,000, thereby taking the whole amount to 60,000 naira. The source said, and the Vanguard quoted, "We worked out again just now. The federal government added 3,000. We reduced 3,000. As at the time the organized labor walked out, the federal government offer was 60,000 naira, while labor reduced its demand to 494,000 naira. All right. I guess they are taking that social media mantra too seriously. No grief for anybody. Labor is not agreeing for anybody. And I wonder what Wale Edun would say about this. I really wonder, because Labour is insisting on the very high amount it is asking for, demanding for, because of the current state of the economy. I don't know if you've seen it, but Wale Edun, the Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, is saying that in the last 1 year, the economy of Nigeria has grown so well, has improved so well. Yesterday was the FCT minister saying that the President Tinubu's administration has done fantastically well. So I wonder what your thoughts are as it relates to the Labour story. I've got a commercial coming up, but my next big story, I just tell you about it quickly. I mention it and then go for the break, and when we do come back, we talk some more. 4 soldiers arrested for armed robbery in Rivers State. I'll tell you all about it when we do come back from commercial. So you want to stay tuned. Remember, you can start sending in your WhatsApp messages to the number 0809 0306 on Facebook Live, Nigerian for PH. All right, I'll be right back. A 13-man armed robbery gang that specializes in hijacking and diverting trailer loads of goods in Rivers State. In a statement, the police public relations officer in the state, Grace Oringa Koko, said they were arrested after a distrust in the Elungu axis. The statement said the police arrested 5 suspects who had been beaten by a mob and took them to the police hospital. She said the suspects confessed to engaging in criminality in Rivers State. They include West Isaac, a corporal in the Nigerian Army serving in Delta State, Lance Corporal Abdul Musa, Lance Corporal Mbe Geoffrey, and Corporal Innocent Okwoli, and another suspect, Jabila Kamanga, also known as Kaka, an officer of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and a CDC 7 in Kaba, Kogi State. Now, the 8 civilians include Olisa Emeka, George Obilo, Samson Wilson, Alfred Abeke, Barry John, Awalu Aliyu, Uchenna Wali, and Alaji Sufino Aruna. The statement also said the gang had hijacked a trailer loaded with fertilizer valued at 25 million naira, and in February, a 40-foot container filled with imported clothing from China and another trailer carrying POP cement. She said the police have recovered the stolen POP cement and are working to retrieve the trailer load of fertilizer from its receiver. The statement, however, added that 3 of the affected soldiers have been dismissed by the Nigerian Army after the police handed them over. Now, I want to look at it from several fronts. One is what would make a soldier, by the way, growing up in Nigeria, I grew up in Nigeria, I grew up in Rivers State. Growing up, the soldier was so respected, once you see that uniform, even up until now, I still have that consciousness of respecting the uniform, because it comes with all the I don't know how to express it, but the feeling of authority, the feeling of power, the feeling of reverence. And when you see, you just can't help but salute and have that reverence for such an officer. For such a person, or for such personalities to now engage in such activities, criminal activities. I mean, we're talking about the current state of the economy, and we're talking about how we are praying for production to improve, or the government to up the ante as it relates to production. We're talking of bringing investors into the country, most especially into Rivers State. I mean, we've been talking about investment in Rivers State, and then people are trying to run businesses in the state. Fertilizer is a very essential commodity. It will aid agricultural activities, agro activities in the state. And someone or a group of people, because they are security men, federal security men, decide that they can embark on such an activity or such an action. Now, what comes to mind? The economy? Could it be the economy? Could it be that the federal government has not taken care of the soldiers as they should? I mean, there is no excuse for crime, but then we cannot yet again look at some of these other factors, right? Could it be the case? Could that be the case? Could it be that we are not doing enough for the men who sacrificed their lives? Because I cannot understand. I cannot understand. And if our security men are not beginning or are now involved in activities like this, criminal activities that will stifle the economy of the state, that will stifle business activities, not just in the state. I mean, if this is happening in Rivers State, you don't know what's happening in other states, maybe in Bayelsa or Imo or Abia, a neighboring state. You don't know what's happening over there. If such things can happen, then my goodness, we need to rethink what we call our security architecture. We've had several allegations of security men, officers of the law, aiding and abetting criminal operations in the country. And I mean, we're seeing this for ourselves. And if that is true, really, then there is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. I'm going to open the phone lines now. I want to get your thoughts. Time is fast spent. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. WhatsApp number 0809 0306 We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. We are active on X, Nigeria Info PH. I'd like to hear from you, really, I do. This one says, Canada, Nigeria Labour Congress should continue their agitation. They will soon reach their desired goal, I think he meant to say. Police arresting the soldiers and civil defense tells you that many criminal activities are aided by our security men. Induka from Rupoku. All right, Induka, thank you very much. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's see who we have there. We're still waiting. Let's see. This one says, Canada, indeed, I can smell plots to, I think it's ploy. I don't know if plot is the right word, but yeah. You said to destabilize River State. I mean, going by examples like Samuel Wanosike's recent comment, and of course the unusual silence from the other end, something is cooking. And like Samuel Wanosike said, if them born you well come. Well, we're all watching and taking cover too. Kabari from Kana LGA. It's been a while, Kabari. It's good to hear from you. Welcome, Kabari.
Good evening, Canada.
Yeah, welcome. It's good afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
I greet you, brother. Nice work.
Yeah, good.
Canada, you can see what a body that was supposed to enforce the law is perpetrating in a civil society. You can see. Look, these are even, look, you have them all over. We see them. We view them. They are even using why you see the Yahoo Boys to exist and have the God to even feel like they are committing a crime. We know them. Both those that people defend like we know them. We knew them in person. That is fact. The scientists in this state have sort of arguments of this nature. There was a time Alajazari Dokomo made a statement of this and it was also debunked. What is wrong? The truth here is whether you think it is due to the economy or financial control, what are the truth here is whether they are not here. They are not being penalized. That is the truth.
The police, Kabari, the police statement says that 3 of the soldiers have been dismissed by the Nigerian army. So, I mean, they have been penalized on this one, I guess.
Hello, Canada.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
That is even a lighter discipline. Look, if today I am a police officer and I knew that the punishment that they accorded me if I perpetrate a crime of this nature, of this magnitude, is just disregard, then I will simply venture into committing a crime. Because the truth here is, having dismissed me, I am falling back to resources. And why? What are we talking? We are talking about a more solid, a decree kind of punishment here. That will be unleashed on this criminal. Look, are you saying that these people, these are people who infringe on the fundamental rights of the citizens of the state during the last election?
All right.
Even the government election in this state. So that alone is even a way to climb down this. So if they can do that, what can they do?
All right, thank you very much, Kabari. I've got Zion from GRE. Zion, welcome on the show. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
I want to react on the comment credited to the governor of River State, Governor Fubara.
Okay, let's get your thoughts then.
At least it has affirmed our words and complaints that indeed there are people that want to foment trouble in River State. They want to destabilize the state. As alleged, they have started recruiting certain guys from these bus stops to come and carry arms because they saw them bought arms loaded there in River State.
Who saw? Who saw? Can you tell me
As
who saw?
alleged, people saw them.
Who saw now? Who are the
And
people
the
alleging?
governor have already been briefed on this same issue.
Zion, take a step back. Who are the people alleging that they saw them by guns?
I am. On the street
I am, but I'm just hearing this. I am just hearing this for the first time, and you're saying it on my show.
Then it's been long you come walk on the street of Port Harcourt.
Oh, really?
It's been long.
You think so?
From last week, it has been all over the street. If you come to the street of Port Harcourt and ask questions to Rivers youth, the ones they have contacted, the ones they have not contacted, let them tell you. That's why sometimes I always challenge most of you in the media. Don't just stay in your office. Come out to the street and associate with us.
Zion, I am always on the street. You don't know how I move. You don't know my movement. So please, I am asking yet again. I don't listen to rumors, please. Yet again, who is alleging and who is saying